This is the Kpopcast. It's your DJ, Peter Lowe. I'm joined by recurring and main visual, main rapper.
Yes.
Main leader, and...
What else?
PD? No.
Nope. No editing
dancer?
skills.
Dancer?
Yes, main dancer.
Okay,
I can do that.
It's Stephanie. What's up, Stephanie?
Hey, so good to be back.
And joining us for this special episode of the Avengers of K-pop is K-pop journalist and SuperM Stan Twitter account owner.
Yes.
And not to mention the bestie with SuperM themselves. We've got Alexis Hodian. What's up, Alexis?
Oh wow, that sounds way more legit than I actually am. But hi everyone, thank you for having me.
You know what, Alexis? There is nothing you can say that would convince me otherwise. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, I'm always gonna go up to Lee Tae-min or Kai and be like, oh, so I know you know Alexis and all.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that would be a dream come true actually, because I don't think they actually remember everyone they meet, but you know,
they
I'll take it. I'll take it.
So we're here. If it wasn't obvious, we're here to talk about the assembled Avengers of SM Entertainment, combining the worlds of EXO, NCT, and SHINee.
And Wavy.
And Wavy,
yes. We cannot forget. All into one powerhouse group. But before we get there, let's get into our hit replays. Hit replays are songs we recommend that you play on repeat or replay for the week. So, Stephanie, what is your hit replay?
My hit replay is here just in time for Halloween. We've got some vampire vibes in this super hot track. It's 17 Fear. I think my favorite part of this is the choreo. And you know me, I love some good hips, some hip sways. Like, you can get it all in this video from your favorite neighborhood vampires. 17 Fear. Check it out.
Oh man, K-pop and Halloween, like, they have a special place in my K-pop heart. But what's on your hit replay, Alexis?
Well, I've been drinking way too much of the SuperM Kool-Aid, but before I was doing that, I was actually listening a lot to These Nights by Jungha and Rich Brian.
Yes.
I'm kind of cheating on this one because I got the song like before it came out for like press purposes.
Whoa,
so,
my bad.
You know,
press privileges.
Yeah, just like subtle flex. But you know, the music video was a surprise for me too, and I think it was just hilarious. And I really like the synergy that they two have. Like, Chungha's like really into it, like really in her like K-pop persona, and then you have Rich Brian behind her just being ridiculous. So I like love that. I love that contrast. And the song, you know, like, it's a vibe. I really like it. It's like easy listen.
It's not bad.
And then Chungha, like, she's singing English and Korean, and then Rich Brian is singing with a hella auto-tune, but
all the auto-tune.
But it's fine. It works.
Oh my God. Rich Brian, he was like living it. He was living his best life.
Man.
In that,
it's like every dude's dream right there.
With the mullet. Mullet watch 2019.
Riding on the back of the motorcycle while Chungha drives. Like, take control, take the wheel.
I was out of the world of K-pop for just a little bit, being a dad and doing day job work. But I returned, and then I saw this. I was like, what just happened? But man, Chungha, like, I feel like she missed the memo. Like, why? Rich Brian, he was like delivering it. And then Chungha is like, yeah, I'm just going to be my usual self.
Well, yeah,
I don't know. I think she got it. I mean, she knows English, so there's no barrier there. I'm sure he explained. And wanted her to play that part so that it looks even more absurd, don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely...
The straight man, yeah.
I definitely think that her, like, taking it super seriously and just being, like, in the motorcycle and everything, and then Rich Brian just being a fool, like, it's just, like, made it even more enjoyable.
These nights, these nights, yeah, they
but not least, Pilo. Let's kick it over to you. What's your hit replay?
Riding off of your Halloween theme,
Yes.
Stephanie. I've got Devil, which, checks the box for, we now have a song in 2019 with a song named Devil. I'm sure we'll get another one in 2020 and 2021 by a completely different group.
Yep.
But this is an upbeat song. It's a jive, guys. It's a jive. Swing.
Okay, Mr.
Upbeat.
Ballroom.
Yeah, this is one of those
Another
songs.
flex.
The colors of this music video and the scheming mischief of the concept and theme kind of reminds me of another song that Red Loves will point to called Russian Roulette in terms of planned murder and mischief. But I like it, so give it a listen. It's CLC's Devil. So that's it for hit replays. Alexis,
Yes.
as a K-pop journalist, I imagine you get to rub shoulders with a lot of influential K-pop idols and influencers. But when I saw on Twitter the other day,
Maybe more than shoulders.
oh, more.
Whoa. Okay. That's off the record.
Want to
Okay.
hear behind the scenes?
I heard that I saw on Twitter that you got to go to the SuperM premiere. Like, tell us, like, how did that happen? What was that like?
Well, when that was announced, me being a normal fan, like, I really wanted to get tickets. I didn't know how to do it. And then magically, well, not magically, but just like...
I knew it.
That's all it takes, kids. Just magic.
It's magic. Yes, it's magic. I got the invite, the press release for the premiere, and they had all the info, and I was like, hey, can I go? Can I cover it? And they're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, yes. And, I
Like
asked for it.
pass.
So I asked for an interview that I couldn't get one, unfortunately. I know a lot of people got it, but, it happens. It's okay. But they told me like, oh, you can submit a few questions to be read in the press conference. And I really didn't think that was going to happen. So I was like, okay. So I sent 2 questions and that was it. And then I learned that one of my colleagues and friends, Kate Halliwell from The Ringer, she was also going. So the day of, I got there early because it was all the way to Hollywood and parking sucks. So obviously I Ubered, pooled it, and I ended up getting there like way earlier than I thought I would. So I was just there hanging out, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, you can come, you can go in." And I go in, and I'm basically the first journalist there, and they're like, "You can take a seat wherever you want, except where like." They had signs that said like executives or photographers or something like that. So I'm like looking at the second row, and I'm like, and obviously the table where they were going to be sitting had their names already, their name place, play cards, whatever. So I'm like strategizing, like, okay, where do I want to see it? Who do I want to see up close? Blah, blah, blah. So then that's when I was like, okay, the best seat is in the middle because I'm right in front of Lucas. And then Taemin is to his left.
Yes.
Baekhyun was to his right. And then 10 was on the corner. And then everyone else was on the other side, and I'm like, okay, this is the best.
Wait, is that how you think about the group? Everyone else is quote unquote everyone else?
No. Okay.
Fighting words.
No, I'm an NCTzen, but I've seen Taeyong and Mark a lot this year and last year.
Oh, wow.
And I had not seen Lucas and 10 ever. So I was like, I need to be on this side. I'm sorry, Kai. But I still had a great...
Too good for Kai.
No.
You're next level.
I had a great view of everyone. It was just like, I needed to focus on my wavy members that I had never seen before. So I was like, plus it was the middle, so I could get like good pictures with my almost dying iPhone 7. But
I want to know what question What questions did you submit?
Oh, well, I don't know if you watched the live stream, but the first 2 questions were mine. So
The
first two, that was crazy because again, I didn't know that they were going to I wasn't expecting it. Like, they had shut down my interview. I was just like, you know what? I'm just here to stare at their beautiful faces. That's fine.
Which is really enough at the end of the day.
Exactly. So the press conference starts, and then, like, the MC does his stuff and like introduces and says some funny things, and then they're like, okay, first question from Alexis from UPI, and I just felt like someone punched me in the stomach. Like, I was like, what? They said my name. And then Kate, who was sitting next to me, like, she started being like, oh, that's her, look at her. And we're like in the second row, so and then they all like stared at me at the same time.
Looked at you.
Yeah. And I just like shyly like just put my hand up a little bit. I was just like, oh yeah, that's me. And they all like looked at me and like acknowledged my existence, and I was just like,
what?
Okay. So my first question
is from Alexis with UPI. This is for the
I asked Lucas 10, Mark, and Taeyong what it was like to be in the group with like their senior label mates. And Taeyong answered it first, and he gave a really cool answer about, like growing up, looking up to them, and like now getting to debut with them was really cool. And then Mark shared like a little anecdote about him and Kai, how he felt really awkward with Kai at the beginning, and like the teaser pictures where he's like reclining on his shoulder, and he was saying that he felt so awkward when he had to do that, and like contrasting to now where they're like over each other all the time, and they're like super close and everything. And I think that like overall that's something really cool, because like, yeah, they're part of SM and everything, but they're still like co-workers, and there's still like maybe there's an age difference, there's like years and act like career wise. So when you see them there, like, you can tell when it's genuine, and you can tell when, it's just like, it's just business. And they all seem like super comfortable with each other and like genuinely, having fun. And I think that I've probably seen every other K-pop group that you can think of live, and something that I always watch out for is like, do they look like they're having fun? And I think that that's one thing, like SuperM is having fun.
So you might even say that their natural chemistry is their superpower. Okay.
No, you said that.
I'm sorry.
No, you said that, not me.
But there was a special moment during the meeting where you got a group selfie with them. Like how did that come about?
Okay, so they had explained to us like how the event was gonna roll out, and they said like first a press conference, then they go and take pictures, and then they come back to watch the premiere with everyone, which by the way, Mark said that they hadn't seen it before. And there were people and there were people asking me later, like, oh, is that true? Like, do you think? I'm like, I don't really know how you would fake that. Like, they were literally just like, like just staring at each other, and then they were like clowning and just like hyping each other up. Like, it was completely genuine. Yeah. So it ends, they go take the pictures, and then they asked all of this is happening. Like, the staff was, like clearing out the row in front of us and the 2 rows behind us. And the first row had been for photographers. So we just assumed that they were going to be in front of us, and we were, and me and Kate, and I met this other girl there, and we were just like cracking jokes about like them being in front of us and whatever. And then because behind us there were 2 rows of just like Capital executives. Oh, and that's where Isuman was sitting.
I saw him.
And we like exchange, well, not me, he had like a full-blown conversation with Kate, and I was just there next to her being like, that's Isuman, like, oh my god. And he's like saying hi and like being really friendly and just like cracking jokes. And throughout the whole thing, like I wrote it in my article, through the whole thing, he was like honestly the loudest fan there. Like he was just like every time someone would say something funny, he would laugh, or he would reply like, yeah, blah blah blah. Like whatever the fans were doing, he was doing it like times 2.
Oh wow.
But anyway, so they end their photo session, and then they just like sit them behind us, and we were just like what is going on? And no one told us to like leave or anything. And then just like a row of all the photographers like go and step like into the like where they had been sitting before, and start taking pictures, and we're there in front of them, and we're just like we were trying to like, you know, not be in the pictures or everything, but we couldn't really escape that without just like standing up and leaving. But no one told us to leave, and we were kind of like, oh, like we were telling them like, oh, we're sorry that we're like, and they're like, no, it's fine, you're okay. And there was at one point where they all started doing the SuperM gang sign.
Yeah, I want to be gang sign. Get out of here.
Because, you know, Korea's so hood.
Oh, yeah, especially Mark.
So then Baekhyun and Taeyong were like, oh, yeah, like, do it, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, do it. And we were like, okay. And then they
were
took
talking
pictures.
to you?
Oh, yeah, they were talking to us. So then they ended with all the pictures. We were just, like, sitting there for a few minutes, and I was telling Kate, like, oh, like, should I ask for a selfie? And she's like, I don't know.
Yes.
And I'm always really nervous I'm always really nervous about that kind of thing, because it's like one thing when you're a fan and you get shut down, and another thing is when you're a journalist.
Right.
So I always struggle with that. I genuinely like took up, because I had my phone out, but I generally like took my phone and I told Kate like, oh, let's take a selfie, like you and I. And I honestly only meant to take a picture of her and I, because you see, no one believes me.
Right.
So I put my phone up, and I mean, Baekhyun is behind me, and he's obviously in the frame, so he like poses. And I laughed, and I took the picture, and then I was like, you know, like, F it. So I turned, and I'm like, oh, can we take a selfie? And he's like, yeah. So we took the selfie, and we took a few of them, and I look horrible in all of them, but I was like, whatever.
No way.
Anyway, there's a reason why they're not on my Instagram, only on my Twitter.
Oh my gosh.
But then what was really funny was that then, like, some random user on Twitter sends me a picture of me taking a picture with Baekhyun, and she's like, sis, give us the pic, blah, blah, blah. And I became everyone's sis on Twitter this week. Like, everyone's like, sis this, and I'm just like, wait, what?
I love it.
But yeah, where people were just like, drop the selfie, we need the selfie.
Drop the selfie, we need it.
And then, you know what was so funny about the whole thing? Was that once I uploaded all the selfies I took with them, then suddenly I would get people who were like, it didn't matter if it was positive or negative, they were like telling me stuff on Twitter, and then suddenly like I would look at their avatars and they would be like my picture, but just Baekhyun, just Baekhyun. So there was one user who was like I don't know what she was like heckling me about, but I was just like, oh, cool picture. And she's just like, LOL, like, thank you. And I'm like, yeah, whatever.
This story could not be more K-pop.
I'm
Right?
waiting
Like,
for
this is the real deal.
Alexis to appear on like the next issue of Dispatch, like dating rumors.
Yes, exactly. You better watch out. That selfie with Baekhyun.
Right? I haven't gotten any backlash, to be honest.
For now.
For
You
now.
know, Dispatch waits until the end of the year.
Well,
It's not too late.
it would be honestly like pretty cool.
It would be an honor.
It would be an honor
Dispatch
to be in
a
this
scandal.
Yes.
Well, I feel like these members have each had their own like set of dating controversy scandals. But Alexis, for people who weren't picking up on my incredibly dad joke puns here, this is like the Avengers, the super group of K-pop groups. So maybe for someone who like isn't as immediately familiar, I mean, for someone who's been living under a rock, how did SuperM really come about? Like, how would you describe that for someone who is less acquainted or hearing about SuperM for the first time?
I think that the best way to describe them is how they themselves have described the group, and no, not the Avengers of K-pop, but
Ouch.
I think it was Tamar Herman's Billboard interview with them, where Taemin says that they're like they're all aces from their groups, and I think that that's exactly what they are. Like,
that's
not
true.
necessarily that they're the ace of the group, but for their role, they're the ace. So you put them into a group, and it is literally like a group of like super aces, like the best of the best. They all have substantial, long established careers, and when I saw them live, I was just like, wow, I've never seen a group like this.
I guess what I'm wondering is, like, could SM assemble a better dream team, like quote unquote dream team, across their overall roster and portfolio of idols and talent? But I suppose not. I mean, that's a really good reframing and a correction of like the misnomer of Avenger in K-pop.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just like, for some, I don't know what they went with, but I'm not a Marvel person, but they're all from like different universes, and they were just like plunged into a group, and they're like literally they're a super group. Like,
yeah, I'm just waiting for the DC take of this. We've got our SM version, but what's like the CJNM or the JYP?
Yeah, if each label could do it,
yeah,
who would they put forth?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and I think we've seen that in less formalized terms. But Alexis, like, from your professional K-pop journalist opinion, is this like unprecedented territory? Is this new territory? Is this something that is groundbreaking? Like, what's your take?
I think that it is, but at the same time, it isn't. And it isn't in the sense that this is not the first time that SM puts supergroups together. We used to see that pre-2012, probably a little bit with like SM The Ballad and SM The Performance. And actually, SuperM, like they're within like SM The Performance. Like Isuman said that. And what I thought, I wrote in my article, but what I thought it was, like kind of like a full circle kind of thing, was that if you remember, like with Unique and with SM The Performance, like Taemin and Kai were in that group, and they were basically, like the youngest members. Well, Taemin wasn't a rookie, but he was young, and Kai was a rookie, and now all these years later, they're in SuperM.
Now they're the super seniors. Yeah,
and they're the super seniors, which is like, back then it was Super Junior and TVXQ, and now it's EXO and SHINee. Like, what a way to feel old if you've been a fan for like longer than 5 years.
Super Sunday.
Yeah, so it isn't in that sense. I think that the thing that's new is the whole thing that they want to pursue the American market, but then again, this is not the first time that SM has done that either.
Oh my goodness.
Like BoA, and then most recently NCT 127. So I think that what makes it historic, I think that, because I didn't tell you guys, but my second question for SuperM was about like, what was their goal as SuperM that was different from their like their goals from their individual groups,
right? And
they obviously gave me like a PR answer, but what stayed with me was that Baekhyun said K-pop twice. He said it in English, by the way. He said like, oh, we strive to be like the pioneers of K-pop. We want to take K-pop to the next level. And I think that right now that we're seeing like different crossovers from like the K-pop world onto the American mainstream, I think that not everyone holds the K-pop flag proudly.
Right.
And and SuperM is like, we're K-pop, and we want to bring K-pop to America, and we want to like make it bigger than it is. And who better than them, who are the aces from their respective groups, and they're all from really popular groups. Maybe not the most popular, but popular. Yeah, I mean, they all have world tours and everything. But I think that a lot of people just thought like, oh, they're gonna come out with like a song in English and like that's not K-pop. And no, they came out in a song where they blended perfectly like English and Korean, and that also like that doesn't happen a lot. Like you get a lot of cringy
English
or just phrases, and you know, Jopping is perfectly well written.
Let's talk about
I think
that.
the jury's still out on that one. Yeah.
Funny you bring that up.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, but let's begin talking about the song itself. I mean, let's talk about how we feel about it. Like as we were just right before we were recording, I felt uncomfortable saying the word jopping. Like jopping is so fetch. Like
Jopping.
Like SM, stop trying to make it happen. It's not going to happen. Like I don't know.
It
like
already did.
I feel
okay?
like Isuman came up with this by himself, and no one had the heart to tell him it's not cool.
That's exactly it, Stephanie. Like I concur completely. Like no one was brave enough to be like, oh, elder, generation. Like I can't speak out against.
Hey, but I bet a lot of people told Beyonce that bootylicious was a stupid word too. And now it's in the dictionary, so there you go. maybe.
Bootylicious makes sense. Has a ring to it.
Jopping doesn't.
Jopping just has this jarring, like clunky sound to it.
I thought it was funny how they introduced it, like lyrically.
How we get down. Cause when we jumping and popping,
We're jumping.
We're jumping and popping, we jopping. And then it's like,
oh my
that's
god!
what
I did a literal face palm when I heard that. Like I was. So it was okay. So this is a common practice, right? And Alexis, you can probably share more detail on this, but usually music producers, they'll be like, okay, here's the melody. And they'll sing along in a lot of like la 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 la, and then it's up to like the label to then translate. Okay, we're gonna maybe make it say these things, and I feel like that translation from whatever the producers gave them to writing the lyrics was like written by a Korean person who might not. I don't know, study what's popular in Western top 40 music.
I haven't looked into who wrote the lyrics, but I feel like it was probably a collaboration because a lot of K-pop does not have the best track record when it comes to English and songs.
And that's a big reason why we love it. Right?
Yeah,
we're here
that's
like analyzing it, laughing about it. It's so silly.
Yeah, but okay, maybe you're not you might not be like the biggest fan of the lyrics, but they make sense. Like pieced together, they make sense.
I saw, I was just like going down the rabbit hole of YouTube reviews, and one creator, Angelica, did a review, and she said, I saw the name of the song Jopping, and I thought about all the other K-pop songs with weird names, like Zimzalabim, and I was like, yeah, that's intriguing. But Jopping is not. I'm not curious about it. I'm just like confused.
Well,
it's not exotic.
Yeah, Zimzalabim was actually based off of a real phrase of like abracadabra, right? Like that's what it used to mean.
Oh,
but
that's
Jopping
what
is like. I really mean it. It's so fetch. It's like trying to create something artificial and make it happen and be trendy.
Okay, we're starting to be mean now.
Sorry,
I think. Like,
it's okay. They didn't write it.
They didn't. But, bless their hearts, they like went out there and sang it with all of their...
I mean, obviously, when I saw Jopping the first time, I was also like, what the hell is this? No, this is not a thing. But once you see the music video and you see it live and everything, like, you just drink the Kool-Aid.
They are indeed jumping and popping. You might even say
Jopping.
They are jopping. Yeah,
exactly.
I think the video fits with the basic fetchness of the lyrics. Maybe some of you have more like deeper analysis of meanings and what they're trying to show, but I just thought this was a showcase of visuals and money and power.
Yeah.
Well, this is how I interpreted.
Please.
Granted, it was shot probably way before they even announced the group and everything because they said they shot it in Dubai.
Yep.
So I'm thinking they probably did it when they went to some town over there. So no one knew about SuperM, but putting into context, because Mark was saying that like because it opens with a Coliseum and everything, and then there's the whole like superhero thing. But Mark was saying that in the video they're supposed to be like gladiators or like warriors. So when he said that, and I'm watching the video, to me, like, in my like SuperM fan, I was just thinking like, okay, like what do gladiators come into the Coliseum for? Like they were fighting and people were there to like see them die
with their sick dance moves.
So no, so I'm just like, no, they're just like proving to people that like, no, we should exist. There's a place for us and people will like it. And
you will like this band.
And you know what? I just think that the haters are just louder than the fans, because like every other hashtag has been trending since the video dropped. So I think it's just like haters are louder than like real fans. Plus I got to talk to a lot of fans like in the showcase, and even some fans were like, oh, like I was apprehensive at first, blah blah blah, but now that I see it, like, yeah, I'm cool with it. And that's like one of the things that I took from the showcase that like warmed my heart. It's like that there was like a lot of multi-fandom, and I had not seen that in a long time, honestly. Because like you go to a show for like one group or something and it's just like that group, and even now that like the one group stan thing is kind of becoming even more popular, like I miss the days when like it was that everyone just listened to everyone and they liked it. I feel like it was mostly like older K-pop fans who when SuperM was announced, we were like, yes, oh my god, Kai and Taemin finally in a group.
and who are these others?
Taemin and Ten.
Actually, it's funny you say that, because I mean it's no surprise to our Kpopcast listeners that we're fans of Lee Taemin, but especially, and I've been waiting for the longest time to get a solo US sexy androgynous dance performance tour. And I guess we're getting that with friends.
Hopefully.
It's it's Lee Taemin plus friends going on tour right now. Guys, I'd like to interrupt this briefly for some breaking news. Ellen DeGeneres is actually going to be learning how to jop.
No.
I just died a little bit inside with Super M on the Ellen show, where she learns how to...
She's trying to recover from her George W. Bush
encounter. Oh my god.
Yeah.
He's like, I need some K-pop. Someone get me a K-pop.
Someone who will hype me up. Save my image.
She's learning how to jumping and popping, so we can all...
Well, that's the thing. I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but we were saying that like with a song called Jopping, and that you're explaining in the song what Jopping is, there's no Jopping like dance.
That's true.
Oh my god, that is such a failure in virality. Like, guys, if you're gonna do no expenses...
I couldn't tell you. Yeah. I could not show you what it is.
Like, what's the point dance in Jopping? I don't know.
You know what the point
dance...
That is
a great question.
The point dance is Lee Taemin spinning in the bridge. Doing the vampire
spins
dance.
Did he do?
That's the point dance. Just everyone doing that like over and over. And why can't you all do it? Because I mean, Lee Taemin can clearly do it.
What do we think of the choreo in general? I thought it was really strong. I was like, yeah, this is a dance group, y'all.
Yeah.
Well, SM the performance, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Baekhyun actually described it as like a full song, a dance breakdown.
Of dance breaks,
and yeah, that's basically it. Like, oh my god, those boys, well, men, after they performed that song, they were dying. Like, they couldn't catch their breaths. They were just dying.
Yeah. That's when you interrupt it with a ballad or something to let everyone breathe and recover a little bit.
You can just stand there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how have they been doing on tour, Alexis? I mean, you've seen them live. Like, how does this work in a live setting?
Did you see the Capitol Records show?
Yeah, I went to
Okay.
the show on Saturday too.
They looked like they were lip syncing. Is that true?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all of K-pop though. Like they have their mics like, open, but they choose when they sing and when they don't. And I feel like they did sing in what is it? Supercar.
In one of the other songs?
Supercar, yeah.
Supercar, yeah, I thought so.
And maybe Jopping, they, some parts, but I Can't Stand the Rain, which was the first song, like they did not sing anything.
Yeah.
But I know they can sing, but that's my view on K-pop overall. It's like, I know they can sing, or whoever the member is that they can't sing. Like, I'm not here exactly to just like, hear you belt out the song, like exactly as in the record. I'm here for the performance, like the entire thing. And if you are gonna lip sync a little bit or just like sing here and there, so you can give your all with the performance, like, that's fine. But that's my perspective.
What did we think of the song, the audio itself? Like for me, I heard like after the intro, you hear the first verses, or really all the verses. It's got a good upbeat club beat. It's something that you, as a DJ, you use like as sort of like a warm up. Like okay, we're transitioning into peak hour. And then it felt a little anticlimactic in the chorus, but they recycle a lot of horns. Actually, now that I think about it, in the intro, it's got a lot of horns, like in a very anthemic, and I guess that's the reason why they use the stadium,
the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Well, that plays into their whole concept. But Mark did say that the horns came later. I think that they just like added them for that like oomph of like
announcing.
Plus, honestly, I think that it's pretty bold of them to like open the song to like claps and cheers. Like the song literally opens with like people clapping and cheering.
It's true.
Yeah.
But they weren't wrong.
Yeah. I thought it follows the SM, or rather just like the I Got a Boy genre change. Bam, bam, bam. There's like 5 or 6 different songs in there.
Yeah. One nice thing though, unlike I Got a Boy, where they actually literally say in the lyrics, let's bring it back to 140. There's no BPM change. It stays the constant tempo throughout, at least. So
true,
I have that to thank, making it less complicated for DJs everywhere.
You're gonna put it in your set?
Oh yeah, I've got a gig this Friday, so I'm hella playing it. It's Jopping.
So which part to which part though?
I'm probably gonna do an edit where it starts in on the initial verse where the beat actually begins. So I'm probably gonna avoid the fanfare and the horns.
Yeah, like the rapping part, like Mark's rap or Taeyong rapping.
Okay, we haven't talked about that though. That's another thing. Like Mark and Taeyong have never sounded better than on Jopping. Like being there and having them behind me and seeing like 20-year-old Mark rapping like that, I was just like, okay, let me just control my face right now.
Like, get it.
There are like too many cameras around me. Like, I think I broke with like 10 because 10 also raps and I'm just like, 10 rapping. But yeah, like even Kai, like no shade to Kai, but he sounds really good on this track.
So taking it all on the whole, based off of what we thought of the concept, the choreography, the dance, the music, the lyrics, the message, and Avengers assembled, is this song Daebak or not?
Of course it is. It's Daebak.
Yay! Daebak for me too. I can't help it, but it's stuck in my head the past few days.
It's
darn it.
I'm sorry, guys. It's not. I love Lee Taemin. I love the verses, but
you know who's also not Daebak? You.
Oh, damn!
Oh, shade!
In a Kpopcast first. Fatality. What are other effects? You can headshot.
Multi-kill. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well played.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm kind of left scratching my head, like, if money were no resource and you were SM Entertainment, because that's clearly how they treated this group. Like, how would you do it differently? And like you said, Alexis, like, they're trying to go next level. So they should define what next level means, what that should look like, what that should translate to. And I look at those scenes in the Coliseum, I'm like, oh my God, that is so CGI. And I get that it's so expensive.
But it was like good CGI. It didn't look like bad CGI, like cringy CGI. It looked expensive.
Well, it is expensive. But that's my point. Like,
I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah, but like, it is so, like, it's expensive to meet like the minimum bar. And then to do that, like, to do the full-blown, like, Hollywood production CGI experience, that's, like, multi-million-dollar production value. Even SM doesn't have that budget. So I think if they're going to do something in that direction, they should do something that they could do well within their profit margin.
They spent it all on the trailers.
Yeah. Well,
and then they had to CGI the music video.
And here we are, right? At the end of the day, actually talking about them, you know, giving them further hype, publicity, what have you.
How can we not?
Yeah.
Peter, you came out of retirement to talk about this.
Well, Lee Taemin.
There you go.
Taemin, yeah.
I mean, yes, for Taemin, anything.
Okay, well, that wraps it up for this episode of the Kpopcast. I think we can continue talking about Lee Taemin and his friends.
And friends.
If we wanted. And So Young, by the way. But we gotta call it wraps here in order to get this episode out. Alexis, where can people follow you online in social spaces? Check out your selfies and all your bestie experiences with members
your epic selfies
of SuperM.
People can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at HOE_DOYAN.
And you can find me on Twitter at SParker2.
I'm at DJ Peter Lowe, and you can follow the entire Kpopcast staff at the Kpopcast, and we'll certainly tweet along and respond to your interactions there. Guys, I want to drop the mic here and really ask, how does Big Hit feel about this?
Oh, you did not just go there. I thought we were gonna make it a whole episode.
Yeah, I thought we were trying to stay unproblematic.
Wow.
Well, I think I kind of addressed it a bit by saying that, you know, like SuperM proudly says like we're K-pop and we want to spread K-pop, and that's not Big Hit.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like, you know, haven't they been like on the record saying that you know, like there shouldn't be like a box and they don't want to be boxed, and you know, people are always saying that like, oh, don't call them K-pop and they're just Korean artists.
Who says that?
Have you been on Stan Twitter?
Like, have you seen ARMY?
I guess not enough.
Which, you know, that's really not a conversation for me because I'm not an ARMY, and I mean, I obviously have my personal opinions, which I won't give out. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think.
I wonder. I mean, I always ask, like, with something like that, where someone out there doesn't want BTS to be in the box of K-pop. Like, what problem are you solving by saying that or making that?
Well, because they're bigger than.
Because BTS is like killing it and owning the world. So why is K-pop label a problem?
Well, it's a problem because when you're looking at actual album sales and actual reach, they've surpassed not only what has traditionally been entailed in the K-pop community and label and association, but they've surpassed many pop standards. So we should think of them in an even bigger category to demonstrate their influence. So when you're looking at awards shows, for example, you're not just relegating them to best of K-pop.
To the world category,
yeah.
the other category, they should be competing with US, with Western artists.
That's right. And even for Western audience.
As long as I understand the context of the comment
here.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, they should totally get that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I still think they're K-pop, but they should get all the awards. Yeah.
You know, they promote on M Countdown. They're K-pop.
Yeah,
so
that's a pretty good
test
indicator.
Yeah.